I was recording a radio interview this morning, and as I entered the studio, the former Attorney General of Ontario, Michael Bryant, came out. Remember little Michael? He was the bright young thing of Liberal politics, destined to be Ontario Premier, perhaps federal Liberal leader, Prime Minister. He went to Harvard, where David Miller attended. He married well, he was a lawyer, had lots of powerful and establishment connections, could do no wrong, really. In 2009, a young bike courier was killed in a terrible confrontation with Bryant and his car in Toronto. Michael Bryant was eventually cleared of any crime, but what I remember so clearly from that horrible day and night is that within hours of the arrest, we in media were being informed of the victim's drug habit and petty criminal record. He was painted as a thug, a madman, someone who virtually deserved what he got. Now, how did all of this come to us, and why so quickly? I'm not entirely sure. I do know, however, that Bryant hired a very expensive and extremely well-connected consulting group almost as soon as the death occurred, and that this group had friends, close and intimate friends, throughout mainstream media. For example, look at how the Toronto Star, torontostar.com, dealt with all this. Please notice the setting, the coffee, the armchair, the lighting.
I'm trying to get away and he's running at the car like he's gonna get and he runs and he jumps and he lands on the car, and like that moment where he jumps and lands on the car, I remember like Susan just screaming, and he slides across the hood, and I think, okay, well, hopefully, you know, hopefully we'll get away. And then I realized we're not going to get away. He's hanging onto the car, and I'm driving for it, and he's still on the car, and he's trying to get in, and I'm losing control of the car. And so then I stopped.
Oh, I'm not arguing that Bryant broke the law, but I am arguing that he was treated as a comrade, a brother who had made a mistake. And then he revealed that he was an alcoholic and had been so during his term as the most senior law officer in the entire province of Ontario. How was he treated? With sympathy, love, concern, care, understanding. He wrote a book, he did the media circuit, and he's now a respected lawyer. Or how about George Smitherman, who ran against Rob Ford to be mayor of Toronto and was soundly thrashed and trashed in the election? Smitherman was infamous as a bully and someone who screamed and shouted at staff as well as rivals. He was also a drug user, which was known by media but not revealed. When he announced that he had indeed been a serious drug abuser, the reaction was rather Bryant-like. Concern and compassion from the CBC, Toronto Star, and the rest of the bunch. When Smitherman's male lover wandered off for a walkabout and couldn't be found, we were treated to tearful pleas from Smitherman and his nanny, the former mayor and leftist Barbara Hall, asking for time and respect. And it was given by the media, given in spades. When the man was found, I'm glad he was, there were many interesting questions to be asked, but hardly a word was said. Then there is former Liberal MP Joe Fontana, who, Mayor of London, Ontario, well, he sort of was, because, well, he's well-connected, he's Liberal, but he's now charged with criminal offences involving corruption and the misuse of public money. Have you heard very much about this? Not really, no. But these are serious, very serious charges. Or the Mayor of Montreal, Michael Applebaum, who in June was arrested, indicted on 14 charges, including fraud, conspiracy, breach of trust, corruption in municipal affairs. It was covered, but not for very long. Montreal has had other such politicians, quite a few of them. There's scandal in Winnipeg right now, too. And there are politicians, I know them, who boast liberal gentleness and tolerance in public but behave privately like sexist thugs. They bully, they abuse, they use young women terribly, they ignore their constituents. If I know this, the rest of the media knows this as well.
Again, total power in one person's hands, not the American way. These damn bills that come out here all the damn time, come out here at the last second, and I gotta try to figure out how to vote for my people. How ashamed of you should be. You should be ashamed of yourselves. I'm sick of it.
Oh dear. Oh yeah, and then there's Rob Ford, isn't there? Yeah, he should resign. But compared to the above, compared to some of his colleagues on Toronto Council, compared to some of the people in law, politics and media trying to bring him down right now, oh please.
Yes, I have submitted the property.
When,
But
sir?
no, do I? Am I an addict? No.
When have you
Have I
seen
tried it? Probably in one of my drunken stupors, probably approximately about a year ago. I've made mistakes. All I can do now is apologize and move on.
Now, old and good friend of mine, Adam Jambroni, he was president of the NDP, he was head of the TTC in Toronto, city councillor, and contemplated running for mayor at one point, joins us from Ottawa. Adam, how are you?
Very good. How about yourself, Michael?
I'm all right. Now, I don't want to dwell on this, but you're a mate, and I'm going to ask you, you cancelled your run to be mayor because of a scandal. I don't think it was much of a scandal, but it must have been hurtful and embarrassing. How did you deal with it?
Well, I mean, you know, Michael, when people, I think, forget somewhat that politicians are also people. They go through some very difficult times personally, and the difference, of course, is that you live it out in public life, and that's part of what you sign up for. I don't think, you know, you can ask for too much sympathy. You know, I had some very difficult personal problems that I had to work through, and I chose at that moment to not work them through in public. So I chose not to run for the mayor of Toronto, and you know, I don't regret it at all. I've since come through a lot, and it was you know, a learning experience, and I think it's something that had to be done at the moment. But I don't regret my decision at all.
I think you made the right decision, but no one accused you of anything illegal. It was a personal, private, moral relationship issue. But with Rob Ford, this involves illegal drugs, consorting with people who supply illegal drugs, gangsters, bad people, those who've done serious prison time. And I don't know about you, but I don't believe we've heard the last of this.
Well, look, I've stopped trying to predict how this will unfold. It's, you know, there are multiple layers here. I don't think we understand them all. Obviously, a lot of this is with the Toronto police. They're doing an investigation. There's no question that Rob Ford is a flawed person. I mean, we all are, frankly. I think, you know, I think your monologue had some very good points. I think people have attacked Rob in ways that perhaps they wouldn't other people. They've certainly gone, the Toronto Star has been relentless in their attack on Rob Ford. Some of it has been warranted. You listed some of the issues. I'm less concerned about, you know, things, for example, like his drinking or drug abuse. I mean, there are concerns about when that happens if he's in a decision-making role, but, you know, without delving too much into one's personal life, the only questions that have yet to be answered is, are there more serious allegations? There's some allegations regarding the video, how he's connected to certain individuals. We don't know all the answers. I think Rob Ford, though, would have made this a lot easier. You referenced Michael Bryant. Put aside all the other issues, one of the things, as you noted, that Michael Bryant did well is they handled the situation well. They came out, they were very direct about it, and, you know, the only advice I might have had Rob Ford given me a call is I might have said, look, you need to just come out with this. The apology he made this week might have done a lot better. It might have served him well had it come 6 or 7 months ago.
That is an extremely good point. It probably would have been over by now. Public sympathy, I've got a problem, and I've dealt with it. Bryant certainly had a very well-placed, expensive consulting group to help him through. I suspect Smitherman had very good advisors around him. What we know about Rob Ford, and we know this for a fact, we've spoken to the people directly, is he will not listen to advisors. He simply won't listen to people's advice.
Well, and I think yesterday was a good example. I don't think that his initial comments around the drug use were planned. I think they were somewhat off the cuff. Now, if you look, there was 2 press conferences, one of them where he appeared to just step off, I think, the elevator and made some comments. I think that was unplanned, frankly. I don't think there was a lot of strategy there. I could be wrong. By the time the second press conference came around 4:30, you could tell, obviously, there was a script there. It was much more structured. I actually think the second press conference may have, in a sense, hurt him because it looked a little bit more planned and maybe more Machiavellian. The first one looked like a genuine response, and in fact, you know, you looked at him and said, "Wow, that's really kind of sad." And I think you know, some of the sympathy was a lot stronger in the first one. But in any case, he did say sorry. The question for Rob, I think, and this is something that only he can answer, is if in fact he's in a sense, if he can hold himself to this, if he can stay clean, if he can stay, you know, not be drunk in public. These are the things. These are going to be a challenge. Addiction is not easy. It's something that, you know, people struggle with, and I have no doubt that it will be a struggle for him, whether he's the mayor of Toronto or a private citizen.
Well, sure. A lot of people are saying, a lot of politicians, you know, we care about Rob Ford, the man.
I don't believe that.
I don't believe it for a minute. They want it. They're playing. They want him out. They'll use any means necessary. They don't care. But nor do I believe him. He lied in the past. I don't believe him now. I think there is more that we will hear. And it's very hard to take the man seriously when he says one thing a few months ago and the exact opposite now. You know media as well as I do. There are a lot of, how shall I put it? There are rumors, strong rumors, that more is to be revealed in the next week and a half. Is he then going to say, oh, I did have more to hide, I'm sorry again?
Look, I'll tell you, Michael, we started out talking about me, and I can say to you that one of the things I've learned very strongly is that when you're a fairly prominent individual in the media, if you are going to hide something, if you've told it to more than, I think, probably one person, or if more than one person knows, it's going to come out.
Yep.
And so the way that you deal with this is whether you like it or not, whether it is pleasant, yep. You tell the people it's going to affect around you, whether they be staff or your family, mm-hmm. and then you need to come out with it, and yep. You need to be blunt exactly. about it. You need to be genuine. And yep. And I think in these things, like, in terms of alcohol, some of the drug abuse, I think you could be genuine about a real apology, yep. And I think people would forgive him. I mean, so far his opinion ratings are holding, and yep. I think if he can be honest and forthright, okay. I think he stands a choice of being elected.
Adam, always a pleasure. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.